Hello, my name is Joe Hoyle, and I'm on the faculty here at the Robbins School of Business at the University of Richmond. And I'm also a teaching fellow for our building. So I help the younger faculty as they begin their careers as college teachers. This is my 53rd year as a college teacher. It has been a wonderful career. I only wish that I could do it for 53 more years. Where else can you go into class every day and change lives? Literally change lives, sometimes for the better, maybe sometimes for the worse, but you're going in and you're literally changing the lives of the students that you have. Now, my teaching book, which is Transformative Education, How Can You Become a Better College Teacher, is being used, I understand, by your book club, the Low Stress Book Club. I think that's a great title for anything, a book group or anything. And I very much appreciate you using this book. And I understand that you'll be reading it for 7 weeks. And I think that's a good amount of time for a book of this length. And I have agreed that I will come in by Zoom for the 6th session on November the 8th. And I truly look forward to that. I look forward to your questions. I look forward to your suggestions. I look forward to your ideas. I will bring my notepad and I will take good notes. I can tell you that. Since you'll be reading this book over the next few weeks, I wanted to introduce you just to the basic idea of what this book is intended to do. Now, in my ideas, this book has a basic belief, and that basic belief can be found on page 119. On page 119, there's a quote from Nelson Mandela, and he says, and I may get the quote a word or two off, but he says basically, education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world, the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world. Now, we all know that the world has just enormous numbers of problems. And I firmly believe that the only true solution is more and better education. We need to educate more of the people on this planet so that they can go out and they can thrive. And so I firmly believe that it's up to us, you and I, as teachers, to begin to bring this better education to our students. So once you understand my basic belief, then the question is, how do I try to approach that belief in my book? Well, it seems to me that it's the responsibility, or maybe the joy, of each of us to improve. The job is just so important that whether you're the best teacher in the state or the worst teacher in the state, you should work to improve. Now, when I say that, many people believe that I want them to become great teachers tomorrow. Nothing could be farther from the truth. It's impossible to make that kind of change quickly. So all through this book, I stress the idea that we need for you and me to become better teachers. But that's a very gradual process. So my goal, and I stress this several times in the book, is that for everyone who reads the book to strive to become 5% better by this time next year. If you become 5% better by this time next year, and then 5% better the next year, and 5% better the next year, you will be amazed how quickly you become a truly fantastic, great teacher. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to have a reasonable goal. Shoot to be 5% better by this time next year. Well, clearly then the question is, how do you make that improvement? Well, in the book, I talk about the 3 E's, and that is experiment, evaluate, and evolve. But the key is that first E. You've got to experiment. You've got to change things. You've got to be willing and have the bravery to make changes. So if you truly want to improve, if you want to make that 5% improvement, then you need right now to start thinking of ways that you can experiment. Now, not all experiments work. Some fail miserably. But if you experiment enough and you evaluate the results and you evolve in your teaching, you can become 5% better. So one of the recommendations I would have is that your group meet every couple of months and just talk about the experiments that they're trying. Encourage experimentation amongst your faculty. Sit around and say, okay, this semester, here's a change I want to make. And think about how to bring that out and listen to each other. That idea of communication between teachers is something that I don't think happens enough. Now, what structure is there for that experimentation? So I think the most important part of the book is what I call the education diamond. And that is where I think the experiments have to happen. And the education diamond is the 4 points at which you interact with your students, whether you teach online or whether you teach in person. There are 4 times that you interact with your students. One is in how you help them get ready for class. The second is what you do inside of class. The third is what you do immediately after class to help them solidify their understanding of what you did in class. And the 4th point of the education diamond is how you test or grade the students. So if you're going to make improvement, if you're going to experiment, I believe it should be at one of those 4 points: how you prepare the students for class so that they're ready to learn, what you do inside of class, what you do immediately after class to help them take what you've covered and understand that completely, and finally, how you test or grade. Now, I don't care which of those 4 you shoot for. Now, personally, I'm a big believer in getting the students prepared for class. I think that's just so very important. But I would suggest to you that what you do is you strive to figure out which of those 4 points you want to look at this semester, and you focus your experiments on that point in the teaching. Because I believe if you do that, you will be amazed at how quickly your students do a better job. That 5% improvement is a makeable goal as long as you structure somewhere on that education diamond. Now, I talk about a lot more things. I spend a lot of time talking about puzzles. I spend a lot of time talking about critical thinking. I spend a lot of time talking about developing student faith in you. I'm a big believer that everything goes better in class if the students truly believe that you can teach them, that you can get them to where they want to go. I have quotes in there from Bruce Springsteen. The Bruce Springsteen quote is one I have thought about 1,000 times. I have a great quote from Tom Hanks that comes from the movie A League of Their Own. I try to bring in as many things as I can. Once you've taught for 53 years, you have thought a lot about teaching. And I tried to put as much of that as I possibly could into this book. Now, let me finish, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. Let me finish by giving you one suggestion, and that is read one page. Read one page. Find one thing on that page that connects to you or calls out to you. It might be a word. It might be a sentence. Open a computer file and type in that word or that sentence. So in other words, page 1, here's my word. Page 2, here's a sentence. And the reason is that idea of actually evaluating what calls to you, what's meaningful for you, and then putting it onto a sheet of paper in a computer. I think that will help you to keep up with what you're learning. Because when I read books, and I read a lot of teaching books, I often get through and go, okay, now what did I actually learn? What can I actually use? So one page and one word, or one page and one sentence is my recommendation. I think if you do that, when you get through these 7 weeks, I think you'll be in a great position to become 5% better over the next year, and then 5% better over the following year. And before you know it, you will be a truly great teacher. We change lives. We have the chance to make the world a better place. I firmly believe that teaching is the most important job that anyone could have. I feel blessed that I am a teacher. I hope you feel the same way. I hope you'll read the book. I look forward to talking to you on November the 8th. If you don't yet have a copy, remember it's free. If you don't yet have a copy, you can go to the University of Richmond Scholarship Repository and simply type in my name, Hoyle, H-O-Y-L-E, and you will find, or you'll be able to freely download a copy of the book. It's available for everyone. I do not believe in hoarding education ideas. I want this to be freely available to everyone. Or if you have a question or a suggestion, my email address is jhoyle, @richmond.edu. Don't hesitate to send me an email. I'm always glad to talk to teachers. I'm always glad to hear from you and hear your ideas. Hope you enjoy reading the book. I will tell you, my very favorite part is the chapter about teaching Fido to roll over. I just, for some reason, that just calls to me more than anything else. But you'll find things that call to you. It may be Bruce Springsteen. It may be my stories about Anna Karenina or Madame Bovary. There's all kinds of things in this book. I try to place as many little Easter eggs in this book as I possibly can. Things to make you enjoy the reading process and to make you think more deeply about being a great teacher. I look forward to seeing you on November the 8th. Have fun. And as I always tell my students at the end of each semester, make a difference.